So, I think Mario Kart just accidentally created the most accurate simulation of economic inequality in gaming history. Think about it. You're cruising in first place, living your best life, and all you get are coins and bananas. Meanwhile, the guy in dead last looks like Aang in the Wulong Forest. Sounds familiar? It's basically how wealth works in the real world, except instead of power-ups, we're talking about opportunities, bailouts, and safety nets. Now, Nintendo didn't mean to build an economics lesson into a racing game, but they created the perfect metaphor for how capitalism actually works. Let's break down why Mario Kart's item system is basically a crash course in economic theory, and why it pisses people off for the same reasons. Here's a rough layout on how Mario Kart's item system actually works. First place, you get coins, single bananas, maybe a green shell if you're lucky. Middle pack, decent stuff, red shells, mushrooms, triple items. Dead last, the game starts handing you nuclear weapons. The Crown Crusher, Skyfire, and the one that makes everybody say,
"What the hell is even that?"
This is called Rubber Band AI. The game keeps everyone competitive by giving struggling players better tools. It's designed to prevent runaway victories and keep races exciting. But here's where it gets interesting. This is exactly how progressive economic policies work in real life. Think about tax brackets, welfare programs, student loan forgiveness, small business grants. The further behind you are economically, the more help you get. Meanwhile, the people at the top face higher tax rates and fewer safety nets. The difference though, in Mario Kart, this system works perfectly. In real life, that's where things get messy. But before we dive into why real economics is more chaotic than Rainbow Road, let's talk about what happens when you're actually winning. Being in first place in Mario Kart is simultaneously the best and worst position to be in. You're winning, but you're also the biggest target. All players with shells, fire flowers, and a phantom pickpocket are gunning specifically for you. The game basically punishes success. And this mirrors how wealth works in the real world. When you're economically successful, you face higher tax rates, the progressive tax penalty, more scrutiny and regulation, social pressure to give back, and constant threats from competitors trying to knock you down. Just like in Mario Kart, the system is designed to prevent anyone from getting too far ahead. The question is though, is this fair? Supporters argue it creates opportunity for everyone. Just like how blue shells keep games competitive instead of boring blowouts. Critics say it punishes achievement and innovation. Why work harder if the game is rigged against success? But here's where the Mario Kart metaphor gets really interesting, because not everyone starts from the same position. Here's what Mario Kart doesn't simulate: starting advantages. In the game, everyone begins at the same starting line with similar karts, mostly. But in real life, some players start the race already 3 laps ahead. Generational wealth, quality education, family connections, geographic advantages. These are all like starting a race in first place while others begin in last. The item system tries to compensate for mid-race disadvantages, but it can't fix fundamental starting inequalities. This is why real-world economic mobility is so much harder than Mario Kart comeback. A blue shell can instantly level the playing field in a video game, but there is no real-world equivalent that can instantly close education gaps or provide startup capital. The players who start ahead often stay ahead, even with progressive policies designed to help those behind catch up. And that brings us to the most controversial part of this whole system. The blue shell is arguably the most hated item in Mario Kart history. It's also the perfect metaphor for wealth redistribution. It specifically targets the person in first place, regardless of skill, effort, or how they got there. Could be someone who earned their lead through perfect racing, or someone who got lucky with shortcuts. Doesn't matter, Blue Shield don't discriminate. Sound familiar? Progressive taxation and wealth redistribution policies work the same way. They target high earners regardless of how they earn their wealth, whether through innovation, inheritance, or exploitation. The arguments are identical. Pro-Blue Shield camp argues it keeps the game fair and competitive. Without it, whoever gets an early lead just wins automatically. The anti-Blue Shield camp, it punishes success and rewards failure. Why try to win if the game will just knock you down? Both sides have valid points, which is why this debate has raged in economics for centuries and in Mario Kart forums since '96. But here's the plot twist. The system might not be working as intended.
I am shocked. Shocked! Well, not that shocked.
Mario Kart's rubber band economy has a fatal flaw. It can create weird incentives. Sometimes the best strategy is to intentionally stay in the middle of the pack until the final lap, then make your move. Why fight for first place early when it just makes you a target? Real-world economics has the same problem. When safety nets are too generous or tax penalties too harsh, they can discourage productivity and risk-taking. We see this in welfare cliffs, where earning slightly more income results in net losses, tax avoidance strategies that prioritize sheltering wealth over creating value, and brain drain, where higher earners relocate to lower tax jurisdictions. The system designed to create equality can sometimes create stagnation instead. So what's the solution? Well, that's where things get really complex. The genius of Mario Kart is that despite all these issues, the games are still fun and competitive, 90% of the time. Sure, the system isn't perfect, but it works well enough to keep players engaged. Real-world economics is trying to solve the same puzzle. How do you maintain incentives for success while ensuring everyone has a fair shot? Some potential solutions mirror Mario Kart mechanics, like universal basic income, everyone gets coins regardless of position, progressive taxation with caps, blue shells that don't completely destroy the leader, investment and starting conditions, better carts for everyone, just not better items. So the key insight for Mario Kart? Perfect equality might be less important than perceived fairness and continued engagement. So next time you're playing Mario Kart and you see someone get hit with a blue shell, just remember, you're watching economics in action. But yeah, let me know in the comments. Do you all think the system is fair? Or do you think we can build something better? And if this made you think about economics differently, that's probably more where that came from. Peace.